It is Saturday evening, just after 5:10. I think 5:10 on the dot. I think I made it here right in time. And I'm actually on Amazon right now. I noticed that I don't have a copy. I used to have two or three copies. I don't know why I had two or three copies, but I did, of the book Power versus Force. Sorry, guys, I'm straightening things up. David Hawkins. Um, and it was a important book for me for quite some time. Is just put things in a different perspective, and what we think of as power is actually force, and force is limited. Um, we can think of it maybe best in terms. It's actually very applicable to the Tao Te Ching, and let's use water as an example. Water coming full force from a flash flood down from the mountains, happens quite often in southwestern desert. Um, is very forceful, and it can wipe away highways. Trucks have been washed aside, uh, but it's limited because eventually force runs out of momentum, slows down, becomes a trickle. But as it slows down, it becomes more powerful. That's the difference between power versus force, because a trickle over time can carve the Grand Canyon. But force in and of itself, running amok, not often I get to use the word amok, um, will eventually, sometimes quite quickly, run out of steam completely. Jeremy and Charles, Cruise and Adventures is here. Hello, my friends. Nice to see you. Always appreciate you guys stopping by. And you're the first of the evening, which is nice. It's always nice to have someone friendly pop in on that first comment, you know? It sets the tone. So I'm thinking power versus force. And see, I'm bringing up my desktop here. With the desktop, I believe I can drop links. And if something happens with my phone, I always have this as a backup. So what I'm going to do, speaking of dropping links, I'm going to take my own little cruise here as I go over to Jeremy and Cheryl's Cruise Adventures channel. I missed you guys live on Friday. I try to make it as often as I can. I try to make it throughout the week. I mentioned before, it's often part of my morning routine as I relax. Before I get ready to go out for a run or a walk, I'll, sit here in front of my computer and I'll watch you guys. It just reminds me of those days before the news media flooded us with information. When you could kick back and you watch a morning talk show, and it was just friendly talk. That's what I miss. I miss friendly talk. And speaking of friendly and friends, Barb is here. Barb. La Akira. I did that without my cheat sheet, by the way, Barb. So the title for today was Ask Me Anything, if you want. Doesn't necessarily have to. No one, has to. So, you know what? I went off course. I started talking about friendliness and the friendliness of watching Jeremy and Cheryl's Cruise Adventures. But it fits into the theme of things, I think, as I was talking about power versus force and true power versus force. Force being a pale imitation of power. That when David Hawkins wrote Power versus Force, the book, and he did it based on kinesiology testing, a muscle would test weak or strong, depending on what it was exposed to. We went with music, spiritual texts, thoughts, ideas. And I think of that in terms of my channel. I want my channel to be a place that resonates. Maybe not with everyone, because nothing resonates with everyone, There's going to be people here, people about, who just have a different way of seeing things, and that's perfectly fine. And they're going to come here and think this guy's whatever, and I probably am. Uh, but it also means I need to be guarded a little bit, and I'm not used to being guarded. I'm used to being, open about things, but I can't allow um, certain things within the confines of the chat that might make people uncomfortable. I don't know where I'm actually going with that, but I guess I'm talking because earlier today, a moderator, a good friend, someone I like, had changed the name of his his channel name, to my name, just Yogi doing burpees in his basement, which is one of the few things I've ever had happen that is an absolutely shouldn't happen, because that means that if he leaves any kind of comment, it reflects on the entire channel. And I have no control over it whatsoever. So it threw me off a little bit, and things don't generally throw me off, but it's straightened out. But it led me to think, you know, I'm feeling this out. I don't know where my channel's going 100%. Each day it takes a little different shape. It feels to be heading towards someplace that I personally find meaningful and hopefully helpful for some people. Maybe not, again, necessarily everyone. Barb says, well, great. Yep, I thought I'd give it a try without the cheat sheet and see how it happened. Barb says, you're protecting your channel. Yeah, I've been working steadily for a year now. I am almost, I'm almost monetized, which is important to me, but not of the utmost importance. I don't want to diminish it. But I've also, hopefully, within a certain group of people, I've developed somewhat of a understanding. People know they can come here and be safe. They could ask questions. They could be, we could talk about whatever, and we have. We've talked about all kinds of stuff. So I got to make sure that, if people come in, that they know that. Burpee Reaper says, good afternoon, beautiful people. How you feeling, Lewis? Burpee Reaper says, Eric, can I eat a burrito and some rolled tacos since I did my workout? Man, as far as I'm concerned, you can eat 6 burritos and 27 tacos and top it off with a milkshake, and then wake up and have Sunday pancakes. 1,000 reps gives you a clean 24-hour pass. No questions asked. Barb says, laughing out loud, burpee, that is cute. Hey, Barb, he did 1,000 reps. 1,000 burpees. Barb says, and that sounds good, but I can't eat that. Yeah, I can't eat that either. I guess I could, and I have at one time. I generally keep my appetite in check, but there's been rare occasions. It's been a long time, but like I remember saying a few years ago to Mocha that I wanted to eat some vegan hot dogs because it's been a long time since I had a hot dog, vegan or otherwise. And Mocha's like, well, we can make 1 or 2 hot dogs or something like that. And I said, no, I want to eat some hot dogs. And I think I might have had like 17. It was a lot. So when the dam breaks, when the appetite is wide open, man, there is no holding me back, which is why I don't give in often. Barb says, I can't do one, but I do the sitting and chair exercise. Hey, Barb, have you ever thought about seated yoga? Reaper says hello to Barb. And then he has nothing but water today. Are you doing that on purpose or just not feeling like you're up for eating, or are you doing like a cleanse? Barb says, I don't know what that is. If our friend Empress of the New Earth comes in soon, hopefully, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, she usually does pop in at least a little bit on a weekend. You can ask her if it's possible if she demonstrates, as she's actually a certified chair yoga teacher. Chair yoga is some of the yoga asanas, the yoga postures that are very good for you, that you can do for people who are unable to do them standing. People who might have certain issues or conditions that prevent them from doing yoga, they can do them in their chairs, and they get wonderful benefit from doing them. Our friend Goldie's here. Goldie says, hi there, lovely people. Hello there, lovely Goldie. How are you? Let's see. Barb says, just to eat. I've been sick with sinuses. Yeah, I know you've been sick. That's what I thought, that maybe you didn't eat, because I can see how sometimes if the sinuses might be draining, how it could leave you without an appetite. Reaper says, I'm on it, Eric. I'm starving. I'm bad. Reminds me of my post-ultra days after a race. Really, like right after a race, I couldn't eat anything. I might even be slightly nauseated. But the next day, man, I could definitely pack away some food. Goldie, how was today? How was your day today? Goldie says she's good. First part of the celebration is done. Second part, the banquet, tomorrow. Awesome. Seems to me, but I could be wrong, that it would be the, for me, sorry guys, I have, I wanted to check out Empress of the New Earth and see if she had anything new up. Seems to me that the celebration would be the fun part, and the banquet, for me, not as much. Reaper says, I hear on that, Eric, my first meal is finally here. Awesome. Enjoy it. You earned it. Goldie says, it was beautiful. Got teared up when I saw her parading to the church. That's awesome. Happy to hear that. And yeah, emotional. Definitely emotional. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to do that. There we go. Nothing new from Empress of the New Earth. Reaper says, appreciate you, Eric. You as well, my friend. Excellent job today. Man, you set the tone. You set the tone for what that day was, what today was all about. Awesome job. Definitely salute. Master Sergeant retired. Mocha is here. Says hello, everyone. Hello, Mocha. Goldie says she enjoyed our part of the celebration. We changed up and went to the Village Museum for a pinkin. Let's bring that up on the big screen. Not that it matters. I'm going to bring it up on the big screen so I can mispronounce it on a bigger level. Oh, picnic. I'm sorry. Now I see it. You see, it does pay to put it up on a big screen. I hope it was a lovely day. I hope it was sunny and not too warm. Hey, Goldie, what are the summers like in Romania? Wolf is here. Says hi to Yogi, and Mocha. Hello, my friend. Hey, Mocha, if anyone deserves a high five today, well, I do, because I've been waiting almost 23 years. But so does the Burpee Reaper, so does Luis. Completed his 1,000 Navy SEALs this morning. Definitely deserving. Maybe it's deserving of, if I were to give a high five, I would give you a high five, but I don't give high fives. That might be as close as we ever get. Barb says hi to Mocha. Gordy says, yeah, it was beautiful. We spread our blankets under a pear tree. Awesome. Yeah, that does sound beautiful. Wolf says, Mocha, may I ask you what branch? She was in the Air Force, 23 and a half years. Reaper says, denied. Welcome to my world, my friend. Mocha said, impressive, good for you, and no. Hey, you got an exclamation point. That's something. Gordy says, two of her friends came with us. They were outside snacking and playing cards. Nice. So it sounded like the celebration ended on a really peaceful note, on a really mellow family, friend, just kicking back and enjoying yourselves. I like those kind of celebrations. Gordy says that's the kind of celebration she likes. I do as well. Wolf says, I was Air Force myself for a little over 2 years. My nephew retired after 20 years. Thank you for your service, both of you. For you, Wolf, as well as your nephew. I did not serve. My father did. As mentioned, he was in the Navy at the tail end of World War II. He was on a minesweep in the South Pacific. A particularly dangerous time to be in the South Pacific, as Japan knew they were losing the war, and they had planned a huge kamikaze strike, taking out as many ships as they could until the bomb was dropped. My father was conflicted about the bomb. Dropping the bomb probably saved his life, because they would have taken out the minesweeps. However, the mass of lives that were destroyed and continued to be destroyed for a long time from the dropping of the bomb caused him some conflict there. Do the means justify the end? Do the ends justify the means? Which way is it? I don't remember. Goldie says she is dreading the banquet tomorrow. She asked if she can bring a book with her. That's what I would have done. I don't think I would have asked. I think I would have snuck it in. Goldie, I think your daughter and I are on the same wavelength. Barb says, I say thank you for your service, one and all. Well, I have done my best to serve the veterans that are in my life. James McKenzie says, ask you anything. I'm already regretting that I said that. I say ask me anything, but if you note, I didn't necessarily say that I have an answer for everything. But you know what? As long as it's non-offensive to the people here, not to me. You can ask me anything, but let's go ahead. I say go for it. Hello Flower says, hi Miss Mocha. And we know what's coming after that. Cody says exactly, Hiroshima and Nagasaki are still reaping their victims. Yes, they are. My father was certainly thankful that he got to live, but that's what I was talking about earlier in like the first conversation. It's okay to embrace paradox. The paradox, the seemingly contradiction for my father, was he was grateful to be alive. He was grateful that the war ended and that further lives, and yet at the same time, he mourned the loss of life that happened from dropping the bomb. It's okay to embrace those paradoxes. If we break that into it has to be this way or it has to be that way, we miss out on, in philosophical terms, the qualia of life, that intrinsic isness. And in Buddhism, they would say isness or suchness. Mocha says it was an honor to have been able to serve. Thank you. And Mocha certainly did serve honorably. And beautifully. Goldie says hi there, James. Flower says hi to Miss Barb. Goldie says hi there. Lovely Flower. I just caught sight of James' message. It's funny that you asked that. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And the reason why it's funny that you ask that, well, for one, our friend Eric Lapointe has just filmed yesterday, the day before, some woodchucks, baby woodchucks, poking their nose out from under his barn. And I got a glimpse, a little bit on film, of a woodchuck yesterday. And I've been taking a whole lot of due consideration on exactly how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. I was thinking I needed to do some graphs and some pie charts, break out my calculator, mechanical pencil, and do some serious studying on this. Or I could just watch the woodchuck, which is much easier because I'm really bad at math. And from my direct observation and experiences with woodchuck, they don't chuck wood, even a little bit. What I've seen them do is sit on a log and stare at me. Look of intelligence, which tells me something. Woodchucks are so intelligent that I actually think that they are getting someone else to chuck the wood for them. So maybe, I don't know, maybe a chipmunk. Maybe the squirrels. The squirrels are always up to something. So maybe the squirrels are actually chucking wood for woodchucks. It wouldn't surprise me. Squirrels, again, they're up to something. I don't trust them fully. I do trust woodchucks, though. So, James, that's my theory on woodchucks chucking wood. Mocha says, hi, little ray of sunshine flower. I will say that Flower certainly does light up the room, and she certainly lights it up when she says hi to everyone. When she says hi to Mocha and Barb and Goldie. I get a hiya, Eric, but I like the seas. Goldie says that's a tongue twister, James. It certainly is. James says, I seen the Ask Me Anything, and that popped in my head. I'm glad you asked. gave me a chance to put the blame fully on the squirrel's shoulder. I've been meaning to put that theory out there. Barb gets a laugh out of James's question. Wolf says, I get the feeling that Wolf is in the know on these things. I think he has his fingers on the pulse of the mystery of life. And Barb does as well. The answer is that it depends on who cut the wood. See? It goes back to mystery. That brings us to a whole other question. Who did cut the wood? Flower says, ooh, hi Wolf, how are you? James says, now that's a mad little coincidence, ain't it? Mate, I've got my daughter sleeping next to me. I'm chuckling away at this point. I may wake her up. We'll tone it down just a bit. We'll turn from woodchucking, stone throwing. Wolf says, eye is flower, mostly good, but back is giving me a hard time. Hey Wolf, is it feeling any better? Flower says, oof, I really hope you get better. Nice. James says, hello, hello, I'm good. Thanks for trying. Thanks, was trying to get my tattoo forwarded, but no luck. Got to wait until the 19th. Hey, what are you going to get? I have a couple myself. I do not have as many as Mocha. She outdid me in the tattoo department. Barb says, you're lucky to find out he won't tell me. Well, doesn't want you to worry. Flower says, wishing you the best. The doctor gave him something. I've heard, I know you got a shot. My father did as well. And the first time he got it, it seemed to do him some good for a certain period of time. The second and third time, it didn't do anything. He was in as much pain as ever. James says, I'm in the process of getting a full Japanese sleeve. That's awesome. It's my last session, so it will be finished. Awesome, man. That last session, it's just so good to be done. All of my stuff, one day stuff. I got it. Not a lot, but a fair amount of smaller ones. I'd like to get a couple more even smaller ones, actually. And maybe I will. Reaper says, nice. I've always wanted a full sleeve. Reaper, what would you get if you got a full sleeve? Mocha says, nice. To James McKenzie. Mocha has been meaning to, when she pops on live with me, to show you guys one of her tattoos. A specific tattoo that was designed by her daughter. Reaper says, the story of my life. Hey, you know, Reaper, you should do a live stream sometime and talk about what led you here. What led you to the point of hitting 1,000 Navy SEALs in an afternoon session? You know, your own journey. I know you and I have been through some similar things. Flower, says Slow Sir Reaper. Flower is a greeter extraordinaire. No one greets better than Flower. Well, maybe Flower and Goldie are tied. James says, cheers. It's been around a year getting done, so it'll definitely be good to get done. Damned expensive. Yeah, I bet. My mom left me money after she died last year, so that paid for it. It's also got some aspects. Sorry to hear about your mom, my friend. Yeah, I've lost both my parents. My father not too long ago. James says, in memory of my mom. That's awesome. It's nice to have that testament. Reaper says, maybe if you do interviews, Eric, I can be one of your first guests. Hey, let's make that happen. You can be the very first guest. If I try to do it with Duncan Walsh. It'd be great to have a conversation with Duncan face to face. But man, I'd absolutely love to talk actually with everyone. But definitely you, Reaper, and definitely Destiny. James says, sorry to hear about your dad, man. Thoughts are with you. Thanks, I appreciate that. I had the good fortune and I had the good fortune of being with him the moment he passed away, holding his hand and staying with him as whatever happens after we die happened. It was important for me to stay with him. Reaper says, it would be my pleasure, Eric. So I'm going to have to learn how to make that happen. Of course, I wouldn't have any prepared questions. It'd be the same as what we do here. Just wing it. And I can't imagine I'd need to prepare any questions to talk to someone that I consider a good friend. I think it would be pretty smooth and natural, easy. Reaper says, not much of a talker, but I'll answer as best as I can. I think we just have a conversation. You know what I mean? Let it unfold organically. James says, damned, in the past 3 years, I've lost my mom, dad, uncle, and grand. Oh man, that's a lot. I didn't really have a good relationship with them, but my mom dying hit hard. I can definitely relate to that. I didn't have a terrible relationship with my mom, but it was a difficult relationship. I can't think of another term to use other than difficult. But I was really close to my dad, and that hit me hard. That still hits me hard. It's been over 2 years, and it hits me every day like it's brand new. With my mom, because she had Alzheimer's for 10 years, and I helped my dad take care of her. That when she passed away, it was like we were losing her for a 10-year period of time. So I had 10 years to make my peace with her. I think being a caregiver for my mother was actually more important for me than caregiver for my father. I was fortunate for both. But with my mom, because of the difficult relationship, I was able to deal with every issue that I ever had with a paternal figure and lay it aside. Not push it down, but literally lay it aside so that I could relate to her in a calm, loving, compassionate way. James says, long story short, my mom was an alcoholic. She turned to drink because of BS in her life. Abuse suffered from my dad and stuff. I started pushing her away because of the drink. And she tried to stop by herself, and her heart stopped. That's a hard story. But hey, she tried to stop. That's no small thing. She tried to stop. I hope that you can take some a sense of ease, a sense of peace from the fact that your mom's heart stopped when she was trying to um, kick alcohol. Our friend Runner Boy is here. Says my granny has Alzheimer's, but it's not that bad right now. I talked about this the other day. I think one of the most important things to have in consideration when we are dealing with anyone who has Alzheimer's or dementia is, as much as possible, stay centered in the present moment, because there is no "I just told you," or "don't you remember," or "why don't you remember," or "how many times do I have to say this?" There's only right now for someone who's suffering from dementia, and they're afraid because their awareness hasn't diminished, just their memory. So they are aware of your frustration, but they don't understand why. They are aware of your anger, they're aware of everything, but they just don't understand why. And it's sad. I never saw my father ever lose his patience with my mom. He didn't want her going in the hospital at all. If we could all take care of her, and we stepped up, and we did. Again, one of the most important things I did in my life. Maybe the most important thing. Runner Boy says she's 87 now. Hey, if it's not that bad now at 87, that's really good. James says, yeah, she did, but I don't think I'm going to get over the guilt I carry now. You know, it absolutely breaks my heart that she died thinking I hated her. We had a big argument a few weeks before. Hey, James, the fact that it breaks your heart means that you're capable of forgiving yourself. The very act of the heart breaking means it's opening up. It's becoming spacious. And when something's spacious, it can hold everything. And it can hold your guilt until your guilt's no more. Here's a question for you. If you're able to have a conversation with your mom right now, and she said, I'm sorry for the years of alcoholism. I'm sorry that you didn't always feel protected. I'm sorry you might not have felt love. Would you look her in the eye and would you forgive her? My guess is that you would. That at this point in your life, who you are right now, that you would, with how you feel right now, you would look your mother in the eye and you would forgive her. You would say, yes, I forgive you. James says, now, knowing why and what led her to her choices she made, 100% every time. Don't you think your mother would 100%, knowing what she knows now, offer you the same forgiveness? Do you think she would even hesitate to say, James, I fully forgive you. Not only do I fully forgive you, I don't see any reason for you not to be forgiven. I don't see any reason for you to have this guilt. You did the best that you were able in the situation you were in. I think your mom would look you in the eye and tell you you're forgiven, you're loved. So do yourself the same favor that your mom would do you right now. To have that guilt, to hold that grudge against yourself, is exactly what your mom wouldn't have wanted. Just the same as you wouldn't want her to not know everything that you wish you could tell her now. Here's the thing. There's no reason why you can't tell her all that now. There's no reason why she can't hear all that now. I'm not talking about if there's a heaven or if there's not a heaven, or I have no idea what comes after. I know when I held my dad's hand when he was passing away that something was occurring. There was a change, but there was also a continuation of something, of somehow. And I have no doubt that when I have a conversation with my dad, that the awareness that he still is, and that he knows, and I can have this conversation. Same with my mom. Um, so everything you've ever wished to ever say to your mom, say it. James says, I'm going to try that. Thank you. You're welcome, my friend. I don't know a whole lot for certain, which I think is important. But the experiences with my mother, watching her lose a little bit more each and every day, broke my heart open. And with that openness, it allowed me to love her in a way that I couldn't before. So when you feel that your heart is broken, James, that means you can love your mother right now in a way you were never able to do before. Think about the years when you couldn't forgive your mom. And now what you said above, that right now, 100% every time. That's your mom's final gift. That your heart could break open wide enough that now you can forgive her. And that now you can forgive yourself. And create a happy life. And create that happy life for yourself and for your daughter who's asleep right now. She's got herself a good father, my friend. Barb says, when talking in spirit world, words deeply felt and emotions are always heard and felt in the universe. Thank you for sharing that, Barb. I've mentioned before, Barb and Wolf are in tune. James says, look, man, I came across you by chance, and I'm glad I stayed for a little chat. But I'm lying in bed, so I'm going to have to love you and leave you. I'm sub to you, so hopefully catch you next time. I'm here every day, James. James says, damn, man, I'm going to end up tearing here. I was a little bit myself, just talking. Knowing a great deal where you are in your life, having been there quite a bit. It's a lot. And it should be a lot, because important things are a lot. So, we'll switch gears. Otherwise, both you and I will tear up a bit. I appreciate the sub. I appreciate you being here. I actually returned the favor and subbed to you, my friend. James says, and I'll catch you next time, sir. Thank you very much again. Good night, and bye, chat. Good night, James. Good night to you. Good night to your daughter, my friend. So, today was Worldwide Burpee Day. We had some new stars come to surface. Jacob put in big reps, 430. And we had the old champ. It is what it is. Burpee Reaper, Mr. 5 Pump. Maintain his title. To be the champ, you got to beat the champ. Gordy says, sleep tight, James and family. I think in the end, we will never know exactly how much wood a woodchuck could chuck, if a woodchuck could chuck wood. It's just going to remain a mystery, guys. So, Saturday, early evening-ish. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I'm going to give you all a bit of an update, if you all are interested. I am at 3,652 public watch hours. That leaves me, if my math is correct, there's a good chance my math isn't correct because I only have 10 fingers, I only have 10 toes. After I've done my counting up to 20 in either direction, I'm at a loss. If my calculations are correct, 348 watch hours to go. I think I can do that in 2 weeks. I set the goal, as much as I ever set a goal. A lot of my goal setting days are over. I like to set a working with intent. That, intent being a force much like gravity, much like electricity or nuclear power. You can use it. You set your thought, you set your desire upon the winds of intent, and then you work. But you also surrender the results to the unknown. You surrender the results to God. You're entitled to your prayers, but the answer of your prayers is in God's hands. Let's see. Burpee Reaper says, "Hey, Eric, guess my burrito." Steak and beans, extra cheese. I was gonna say chicken and beans and extra cheese, but then I thought, man, you're refueling. You're refueling from 1,000 reps. You're gonna go for something more substantial than chicken. That was my guess. Taking my little herbal supplement. So yeah, it's only been since I think around February, maybe January, when I really started thinking about monetizing. Reaper says, "Well, no steak and shrimp. I got the steak part right. I figured it might be steak because you wanted to go, again, something substantial. It's gonna, rebuild from today's activities. The shrimp took me by surprise. Not a bad surprise." Reaper says, "I figured it was okay. After 1,000 reps, few things are not okay after that." Is that going to be followed with a milkshake? So along with the monetizing, I think about the direction I want my channel to go, and I feel like I don't know. I don't know the direction, but I think I'm heading in that direction. Does that make sense? To not know the direction, but at the same time feel like you're going there. Reaper says, "No Mexican bread pan de dulce." Boy, my Spanish is horrible. I've never had that. I wonder if Mocha has had that before. Mocha is a more adventurous eater than I am. Reaper says, don't tell Burpee King. Barb says, well, I'm eating something most won't eat. I got a Turtle Blizzard from Dairy Queen. Boy, I haven't been to a Dairy Queen in decades and decades and decades. Although they don't even call it Dairy Queen anymore, do they? It's now, everything's got to be updated. Everything has to be upgraded to initials. Can't be Dairy Queen. It's got to be DQ. Can't be Burger King. It has to be, is it called BK now or something like that? Reaper was very impressed with the Turtle Blizzard. Bar says, yep, chocolate, pecans. Here's a question for you. Do you say pecans or do you say pecans? And vanilla ice cream. I might throw something out there that's completely unpopular with you guys. Vanilla is the best flavor of anything. Vanilla ice cream, vanilla pancakes, vanilla milkshake, vanilla icing. I think Mocha McCarty is in agreement with me on this. She likes other things, than vanilla, but if I recall correctly, we are on the same page with vanilla. Reaper says BK and DQ. Yep. You know what? It's always going to be Dairy Queen. It's always, if I'm ever going to be old school in anything, it's going to be, I'm going to take my stance with that. It's always going to be Burger King. Barb says pecan. Pecan. I say pecan as well. Although I have been having continuous debates for almost 23 years with Mocha about apricot versus apricot. Mocha keeps insisting there are no apes in her cot. There is no apricot. It's apricot. Reaper says, agreed, Eric. Barb says, laughing out loud, pecan is for North, no disrespect. None taken, my friend. Reaper says, and maple is the best on donuts. I'm not going to argue that. Maple's pretty awesome. Man, when I was a kid, stopping to get maple candy, I could eat a ton of maple candy as a kid and then regret it as my stomach would hurt. I was jittery, my teeth would hurt, and then an hour later, I would eat a ton of it again. Reaper says, pecan. Pecan. Now I'm wondering how I say it. I can't remember. I think probably pecan. I think I used to say pecan. Barb says tomato or tomato. 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 I'm going to keep saying these things and they're going to lose like all meaning to me whatsoever. Barb says maple and oatmeal. Yeah, I have that. I buy the variety packs of oatmeal and it'll have maple and brown sugar. I use one pack and then I put in a couple tablespoons of more oatmeal to make it more oatmeal and less maple brown sugar, but it still has just enough to give it a really good. Reaper says tomato. Reaper says I got to try that. Yeah, maple brown sugar and oatmeal is awesome. I could probably eat oatmeal every meal. Oh yeah, you got to have the cinnamon. Barb says, Yogi, it's my favorite. Brown sugar and a bit of cinnamon. I think Mocha McCarty might say more than a bit of cinnamon. Yeah, I have, right now I have oatmeal twice a day. Uh, Reaper says banana or apples on oatmeal. Bananas. 2 bananas in the morning, as a matter of fact. Give myself some extra calories. Um, Although I wouldn't be opposed to apples. But what I do, um, as I break my fast with the oatmeal, is I have the oatmeal and I have a whole apple on the side. So I get the best of both worlds. Reaper says, of course, Eric, bananas. It's got to be the bananas. If someone were to come in here and say, Yogi, it says that I can ask you anything. What is the secret of life? The answer would be bananas. I might even go all Gwen Stefani and spell it out. Bananas. Gwen Stefani did me a great, great favor by putting that song out, because now I can spell bananas. Before, I was always iffy about it. Now, if Gwen Stefani would write a song about Mississippi, so I could finally learn how to spell Mississippi. Barb says, I used to eat it twice a day, but when my Crohn's kicked in, I had to stop. Apples, raisins, and bananas. I can't do the raisins. Raisins were once a proud, beautiful grape. And some mad scientist came along and sucked the soul of the grape completely out, leaving the dried husk of a raisin behind. There's my view. There's my view on raisins, guys. Reaper says sometimes I add both if I want a little sour taste. It's a good idea. Barb says my son started to talk and would say, Nana. We thought that he was saying nanny, but he was saying banana. He knew what he wanted. In 2017, Reaper says, I did my banana, oatmeal, and tuna diet for 6 months, and people said it was crazy. Then the results came in, and questions started coming. Hey, when I was a kid, and I first started bodybuilding, I had the good fortune of working out with a former Mr. Maryland who was still competing, was still in good shape. And he had a recipe for what he called a tuna shake. And it did exactly what you think it is. It was, if you were trying to get big, it was whole milk. And it was a can of tuna with the oil. And it was desiccated liver. And it was brewer's yeast. And it might have had some raw eggs in it. I don't remember anymore. And it was god awful. For one, blenders weren't all that great back then. You didn't have processors. It was all in a blender. So it was always going to be chunky. It was always going to have chunks of tuna. Chunks of tuna don't belong in anything other than a tuna sandwich. And even then, I think it's questionable. Reaper says, I said literally showed you. Barb says, I can eat raisins, but the skin of grapes will keep me ill for days. Interesting. Reaper says, oh my damn. Yeah, that sums it up. But you know what? When you're 13 years old and Mr. Maryland says, drink this, if you want to get big, you drink it. The Godzilla is here. Hello, my friend. How are the figurines? Reaper says, but hey, we diet for the results. Good stuff, Eric. This is true. I'd say we diet for life, you know, to be healthy, to be active, to do the things that we do. That's the message that Reaper puts out all the time. We've talked about training stuff, training modalities, training routines, and Reaper always comes at the end. Guys, it's all about diet. You can't do what you do if you don't have your diet dialed in. Barb says we didn't have blenders, we had our feet. Godzilla says, I just stopped here, laughing out loud, so bye. Hey, I appreciate you stopping in. To me, you guys stopping in like that, it's a gift. It's much appreciated. Godzilla says, oh, the figures about that. My mom said I can get 2 new figs. That's awesome. You probably earned it. Your mom is probably rewarding you for being a good son, doing well in school. I hope you post them. I hope I get a chance to see. And when you get them, stop in. Let us know what you get. You probably already know what you want to get. Sometimes when we get to a store, though, or when we go to order something, we're taken by surprise. So Saturdays are always a little hit and miss. Actually, weekends, a little hit and miss as far as doing the live streams. Just never know if anyone's going to show up or stick around. But conversations like these, the whole conversation that we had, are always an awesome surprise that I get to sit and chat with my friends. Sometimes we cover really important subjects, and other times we talk about the soul of a raisin and how to spell bananas and why do they shorten names, thinking that kids like it better. Don't kids appreciate words? Why would a kid like DQ better than Dairy Queen? I don't know. The Godzilla says they're Godzilla 2021 and Mech Godzilla. I haven't heard of Mech Godzilla 2021. Both are from Monsters. I'm looking forward to seeing them. That sounds pretty awesome. Hey, Reaper, do you follow Lee Hazard, Strong and Conditioned? He has a couple videos of his body transformation when he was doing high rep burpees and didn't care about his diet, just getting in the calories. He looked good. But then the transformation when he decided to dial in his diet, dramatic. Just shows you the difference it makes. Let's see.
What you're seeing is an unsuccessful bulk with pounds of.
That's him right there. I'll see if I can drop a link. There, Godzilla says he'd be right back. I'll be here for a bit. Let me know if that will open up. Reaper says, I'm soon going to post my first weeks of what it looked like in January. That would be awesome. You've definitely made that transformation. And it wasn't easy this year. Barb says, I'm going to go rest. Tonight is a big night. Don't know if I can eat the food. They cook with olive oil. Allergy to it. I I hope they have something for you. Barb, enjoy yourself. Take it easy. And again, I hope they have something that you can eat. Hey, maybe you could sneak something in. You could sneak in a banana. You can sneak in some pecans and a banana. Appreciate you spending some time with me, my friend. If Wolf is still here, Wolf, have a good night. If he's not here, tell him I said to take care. And hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. So who do we got still with us? Barb says we paid $100 for tonight. Spiritual love to all. Love to you too, my friend. It's $100 for tonight. I really hope they have something for you to eat. Reaper is still here. Hey, so what's next for your wife, Reaper? Is she thinking of another race? Is she thinking about dialing in for a marathon? Has anyone suggested a 50K? And of course, if she decides to do a 50K, she can't do that by herself. She needs someone. Hey, Flower is still here. Always appreciate my friends being here. Hey, Flower. Have you gone swimming lately? Reaper says she wants to keep running. Awesome. So tomorrow you have to run. Hey, what's a couple miles after doing 1,000 Navy SEALs? It'll be a nice change of motion. Instead of going up and down, you get to go backwards and forwards. It'll almost be like a rest period for you. Reaper says she mentioned a full marathon for next year, but that's just crazy. Hey, racing is addictive. You do a couple half marathons and you immediately start doing marathons. A lot of people don't jump to ultras. Some people are happy with the marathon because if you start racing marathons, hey, you know what? I always said I think some of the best ways of seeing a city is to do a race in it. I used to love the Baltimore Marathon because you just get to go all over Baltimore. But I jumped straight to 50Ks. I mentioned before that I used to run to train for things or do a few miles just stretch my legs or something like that, but I didn't really consider myself a runner. And then one day I became a runner, and my first race was a 50K, and then a 250Ks, and then a 50 miler, and then just kept going after that. Reaper says she thinks she's a gangster because she's got 3 medals now. 3 medals are impressive. I guarantee you that's not the end of it. I promise you that she's going to triple that amount. And then she's going to triple that amount. And probably even triple that amount. Aside from ultras, I think one of my favorite races were half marathons. Because you could go just fast enough. You didn't worry too much about timing. Because if you hit the wall, you always knew you could pass through it. If you hit the wall at 10 miles, you think, you know what? If I have to, I can walk 3 miles. But in a marathon, if you hit the wall at mile 20, you got 6 miles to go, and 20 miles already on your feet. It's a miserable experience. I've only hit the wall once in a marathon. Flower, you still taking, you said you were taking summer classes. You still taking summer classes? Hey, Reaper says, what was that? I didn't see. Summer's over. So you're already back in regular school? William's here. William, how are you? That's what I said, Reaper. How can summer be over? Of course, she is in Myanmar. Reaper says, oh, mine's about to start. William Downey was someone who, after I watched him train arms the other day, is what got me thinking about your routine, Reaper, that I wanted to add in some weights. I was watching William get a hell of an arm pump. And then he fried up, I think it was, I got it wrong last time. I think I said 42 eggs last time, but I think the correct answer was 37. But it just got me thinking how much I used to really enjoy doing weights, and it's been a while, but I don't want to stop doing burpees. And it occurred to me, Burpee Reaper has the perfect routine for what I might want to do right now. Tailor it to fit my needs. Flower says, regular school for me is not open yet. I was just thinking that, though, because yesterday, was it yesterday? I don't remember what day it was. You said you were thinking about going swimming. And summer and swimming, when I was a kid, they went hand in hand. William says, doing good, sir. How about you? I'm doing good as well. Hey, Reaper, you should check out William's channel. Old school lifting. Reps and weight. Just the reps and weight in the garage, in the heat in Phoenix. The way it should be done. Gyms are great. Man, I started working out seriously when I was 12, 13. I spent a ton of times in gym, but there's just something about your own basement gym or a garage, especially nowadays, because you can get some really good equipment. Reaper says hi to William. William says just left work. How's the temperature there? I think I got about 2 hours on you time-wise, so we're talking, what, 4:30? Man, it's got to be about as hot as it's going to get. Reaper says they just subbed to William. Awesome. Love making those connections. William, today, Reaper did 1,000 Navy SEAL burpees. One session. William says, nice Reaper, and thanks, Yogi. You're welcome, my friend. 109, 3:30. So, yeah, I got you by 3 hours. 109 at 3:30. We had a young man pop in from India. I forget where he said he was in India. and it was 130 degrees. Absolutely crazy. Worm says, oh my God, good Reaper. Yeah, that was a monster session. So, what are we talking about? Did you do any extra? Did you just do the 1,000? So we're talking 3,000 push-ups. Yeah, William says brutal 130. And I think in India, I think where he was, it's also humid. I never liked that whole heat index thing where, someone says it's 97, but it feels like 113. You don't have to tell me what it feels like. Just say 97. I know what it feels like. I know it feels damn hot. That's enough. I don't need someone else's opinion on what it feels like. Reaper says, yes, I did 10 extra because Unk did 8 first, so I couldn't get left behind. Oh, no, absolutely. You did the right thing. And then tomorrow he goes running. Are you going to do burpees too, or are you just going to run? Of course, you're fueled by steak and shrimp burritos. Who knows what you'll be capable of tomorrow? 2 or 3 steak and shrimp burritos, and man, you might want to do a whole another 1,000 burpees. Reaper says, no burpees. I'm good for tomorrow. Let's see. For me, I had to look up my schedule. Tomorrow I will be 894 days straight of doing burpees. I'll get to 900 and I'll see if I want to continue. I thought about getting to 999 and then taking a day off so people wouldn't think that I was, anal retentive about my workouts. Reaper says, well, that arm gave out, so I was completely done. Yeah, once you hit that point, something gives out, you're definitely done. So, yeah, I know Unk's ahead of me with, he's at 1,400 days. I know Burpee King's ahead of me with like 1,500 days. And they're not going to take any time off. I'm not chasing anyone. But for me, I've talked about this with Duncan Walsh quite a bit. It's not a streak for the sake of seeing how many days I can go. It's more for my mental health as much as it is for anything. And that's not counting. I had worked out every day, kettlebells or something else for probably a decade before that. I honestly don't know when I've ever taken a day off. Of course, it's easier now because I don't have any. I'm not training for racing anymore. I'm not training for kettlebell sport anymore. I'm only training to train, if that makes sense. Like, people have asked, what's your training goal? And my goal is to train. So it's pretty easy. It's a self-fulfilling goal. That comes with, for me, being older and having achieved physically a lot of the goals that I've ever wanted to do. Some at the extent of my health. Like I wanted to bench over 300 pounds, but bench was never a strong exercise for me. So I had to put on some weight. So my early 30s, I bulked up. I was about 220 pounds. I have a picture on YouTube, one of the thumbprints of me at 220. And I benched over 300, but I realized for that weight, it still wasn't that good of a bench. It still wasn't that strong. So if I wanted to bench more and to put on more weight, it becomes a self-defeating. Do I jeopardize my health for a gym lift? I had done some bench press competitions, but middle of the pack. So do I jeopardize my health to continue being middle of the pack? Just didn't make sense to me. Godzilla's back. I spent the last $20 and Roblox. Or something like that. I actually don't know. I've heard people talk about Roblox. I actually don't know what it is. William says, I've been struggling to do more than 12 pull-ups for 4 or 5 sets. You know what? Pull-ups, all the way up until my 40s, used to be a super, super strong exercise for me. The one thing that has gone down more than anything has been my pull-up strength, and I don't know why. Not so much the strength, it seems, but the explosiveness of my reps isn't the way it used to be. I'd love to get that back. Reaper says, what do you guys recommend for hand blisters? When I was doing kettlebell sport, we would always drain them immediately and then put an antibiotic on it and then just wrap it up. Flower says, I'm playing Roblox. What is it, Flower? Godzilla says, now. Hey, maybe you guys can, it's an online thing, right? Maybe you guys could play. That'd be kind of cool. That would probably be the only connection of that that's ever happened on my channel. Godzilla says he's playing Creature of Sonoya. Flower says, yep. William says, yard gloves with that grip. That makes sense. Yeah, it's not so much the grip given out as just not, again, lack of explosiveness in my pull-ups. After 6, 7 reps, the explosiveness goes. I can still grind out a few more. William says, grip type tape. Yep, that works. Cody says hi there to Godzilla. Flower says, Roblox is a game where you make games, if that makes sense. No. But that's okay. Things like that don't have to make sense to me. What matters, you guys having fun? That is something that's important to you guys. That's what counts. Goldie says hi there to William. Hey Goldie, I don't know if you heard my question earlier. What are the summers like in Romania? I'm sure it's probably, depending on what part of the country. And I know there's mountainous regions in Romania, so it's probably cooler than along the Baltic. You touch upon the Baltic, right? I got Google up, so I can translate from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Godzilla says, want to play Flower? That would be kind of cool if you guys played. Godzilla says they're like very hot. So, I can't pronounce your channel name, and I can't read what you wrote. However, I appreciate that you took the opportunity to write it, whatever it might be, my friend. So, thank you for visiting, thank you for stopping by, and thank you for leaving the message. William says, I'm going to get going. I'm just about ready to pull into my driveway. So I'll talk to you during this week. But take care. William, thanks for stopping in. Much appreciated. Hopefully I can catch you live on another workout sometime this week. Cody says, nope, we touched the Black Sea. Hey, Flower says yes. Awesome. The Gazola says, Cody, you from Romania? She is. She's in Romania. And Goldie says our temperature is 30 to 35 are the maximum in the summer. So I was looking this up the other day. '86. That's not too bad. It's warm. So I wish I knew how to pronounce your channel, my friend. Says I respect that. I appreciate that. Let's see. So I think we'll talk for about, I don't know, 10 more minutes. So Godzilla says, okay, that flower, drop your user. Goldie says, yes, she's in Transylvania, region of Romania. Flower says I have a lot of access, so haul up. Gordy says hi and welcome. Sorry, I don't know how to read your name. Wow, look at Godzilla. That's awesome. Flower says air. My cat's saying hi to you guys. Yeah, so I mentioned before, you know, sometimes Saturdays and Sundays when you do a live stream, it's hit and miss. You just never know who has time to chat and who doesn't. But I appreciate when people take the time, even just a few. And sometimes, you know, just having that nice, chill conversation with people are the best. No demands, no things have to be one way or the other. can just kick back. I'm seeing if any of our other friends happen to be live. I haven't seen Noble live. I've known that he's done them. I just haven't been able to catch him. Goldie, what time's your banquet tomorrow? I see that our friend Amy McFarland is going to be going live in a bit. In 13 minutes, actually. And I'll be wrapping up in just a minute or two. So if anyone wants to check out Amy, she's going to be doing her scrolling, her wood scrolling, which is pretty good. Fun to watch. I'm going to share her out. So if anyone wants to check out what it is to wood scroll, that is SCROLL. You can check out my community page. Joseph says, hello, skeleton. Well, hello. I'm not so sure skeleton's the right description. As you could check out some of my burpee content, and I'm actually bigger than, I'm not huge. I used to be pretty big. But, you know, as you get older, holding size for the sake of holding size becomes less important. Being in shape, being fit, being able to do the stuff that you love to do, that becomes the important thing. Yusuf says, looks don't matter. It's all about the heart size, sir. You know what? I agree with you 100%. It's all about the heart size. It's all about serving each other. Wisely said, my friend. So I'm just sharing out Amy's live stream. I'll be with you in 1 second. So anyway, Yosef, how are you, my friend? I appreciate you stopping by, and I appreciate you dropping off that little bit of insight. It's an important thing to consider, because you can't see something like that right off the bat. It's only when you have an interaction with people. Although I think with some people, people who maybe are steeped in prayer, steeped in meditation, steeped in the act and art of love, that you get the sense of the size of the heart before someone even speaks. I think that you pick up that energy from a distance. That is, that's truly the heart that has been spent a lifetime practicing not to be anything other than what it already is, which is love. Goldie says, how do you measure the heart? I think you measure it by its capacity to forgive, the capacity of patience, the capacity of, joy and humor. I think if you have a humor streak, you're not taking yourself so seriously. Um, it's a heart that's wide open. And a heart that's wide open is limitless. So you can actually say that's a good question, because now I'm thinking of it in another way. If your heart is really broken open, you can't measure it. It's measureless, immeasurable. I love those statements where you take it one way, and then as you're sort of explaining it, a whole new meaning, something entirely different comes out. So, yeah, that was. Thank you for that, Goldie, and thank you for that, Joseph. Flower says, "Hey, Godzilla, want to play Guess Who?" This is why I mentioned before. You know, we've talked a bit about what appears to be a troll coming in and saying something, uh, and why I'd love everyone coming in and saying, as long as they're not mean to the people who are here, I don't want anyone coming in and being mean to Barb. I don't want anyone coming in and being mean to Goldie or Flower or anyone else. But someone like, our friend Joseph comes in, we end up having a meaningful conversation. We end up getting to talk about some important things. Maybe not having answers, but we get to talk about it. So, with that, now that Godzilla and Flower are going to be able to, are you guys connected so you can join in and play a game? I don't want to end the chat and leave you guys hanging. But I'm going to call it a night. For me, I'm going to go to bed. Goldie, I wish you well for tomorrow. Okay, Godzilla, I'll leave you up for a minute. I don't mind the extra watch hours. Every minute counts, guys. I mentioned before that my goal, I'd hope to do it by the first day of summer, which is the 20th. Today's the 8th, 12 days. I think I can do it. Cody says, thank you, but tomorrow is her day and election day. Yeah, I can see her day, but man, the love that you have for her, every little bit of joy, every little celebration that she has, I just see it straight from your heart. Cody says, we are voting for mayor, city council, and European Parliament. Awesome. Godzilla says, sorry, Flower, it doesn't let me play. Guess who? And Flower's disappointed. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down and call it a night. Appreciate everyone stopping in. It's a fun conversation. I enjoyed it very much. Goldie says, of course, I love her. She's my pride and joy. It doesn't, for some parents, they love their kids, but it doesn't always shine through. With you, it just seems to shine. It shines as part of you, if that makes sense. And it's just a beautiful thing to witness when the love for somebody that shines so deeply from that person. Um, it's a shame every parent doesn't experience that. I wish, if I had a wish, it would be that they could. And I know she feels it. I know she knows it, which makes it a very special relationship. So, all right, guys. With that, I will see everyone. If you're around tomorrow and you're bored and you got absolutely nothing better to do, I will be here. And we'll talk some more. Thanks, guys. Take care.